Maybe let's start at 3:05, Miotlokwe, just to give people an opportunity to sort out the technological challenges they might be having.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just do that. I think 5:05, the friends who already joined, they'll just bear with us. They know this technological issues is the issue of connection, and because maybe some people they are joining when they're on the road, or some they're just coming from places like where I come from, where the connectivity is an issue. So hopefully by 5 minutes past, they should be here. Yeah. So I was just saying about the lockdown, and what I understand is that even if we are on level 1, the virus is still with us. So we just need to really pay attention and keep doing what we have been doing in terms of wearing our mask and social distancing, and of course, washing our hands regularly. I will then, at 5:05, introduce our guests, the presenters, so that we can then continue with this session. Yeah. Right. Okay, people, they need the link. I think people, what we've decided is that if you got an invite for one of our sessions, you will be in a position to use the very same link to attend all these other sessions. So I think it is, people, they must just check on their calendar. If you accepted one invite, all the invites, they should be in your calendar. I'm just responding to some colleagues or friends on WhatsApp here. They wanted the link. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Friends, let's just start, and then the other friends, they will find us on the way, right? Thank you very much for joining, for honoring this session. Today we'll talk about the business intelligence, but maybe before that, my name is Miotlokwe. I'm the host of this session, and then today we'll be talking about business intelligence, and we have invited the experts from the industry who will be sharing with us what BI is all about, right? So we have invited Mochaji Magena and also John Masugameng. They'll be taking us through what is BI, obviously from the very basic to the advanced advanced level, right? Before I can introduce them, I'd like to just go through the logistics of what perhaps we have been regarding as a good way of us conducting this session. So we have asked everyone to mute their mics, and also to switch off their camera just to save their data. Yeah. And of course, during the session, we recommend that maybe if possible, if you have a question, you can use the Zoom chat to ask that question, or alternatively, you can still raise their hand there. I'll be watching the people who maybe they may be having a question, and they will be allowing you to ask the question. But in most cases, we prefer that if the presenter can finish the topic that they are talking about, then we'll open the space where people will then ask the question, right? Now, I will give this opportunity to Mujaji, who she will start from her end with the BI, and also will give opportunity to John, who will be giving us the demo, practical side of things, just giving us the insights in terms of how we can build this, right? So, and I believe they will introduce themselves correctly. As you can see there, Mujaji and John, they are both in the BI space. They've been in there for more than a decade, each of them, and then they work in the different industries. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome both of them, and I'll take this opportunity to allow Mujaji to start with the session. Thank you. Mujaji, I'm unsharing from my side, and I think you'll be in a position to able to share from your side. Thanks. And yeah, do not worry about the meeting topic. We are using the same link, and then our first session was around in the databases. Yeah, thanks. All right, we can see your screen, Mujaji. Then you can proceed. We don't hear you.
Right. Okay. I was just testing that. All right. Cool. So mine, as Miotlokwe has said, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, from wherever in the world you may be. My name is Mujaji Manyena, and as Miotlokwe has indicated, I have been working as a data professional within the financial industry for over 12 years now. And I think when Miotlokwe reached out about the session, I didn't hesitate, because I thought, what's the point of amassing all this knowledge for all these years and not share it with those who want a career in data? And well, here we are. So today we are going to touch on the fundamentals of business intelligence, or simply as we normally call it, BI, as well as all the concepts around it, right? But I must mention, however, that BI is quite vast. So this is not comprehensive. This is just to whet your appetite. If you're interested, you can go ahead and try and get as much knowledge you can, so that you can get the basics right. I'm not alone today. With John, who will then do a demo and show us in practice what a BI model looks like. All right, so as Miotlokwe said, questions will be preferred if you type in the chat. And please remember, there is no stupid questions. We are all here to learn. Right, let's get into it. Okay, my slide is not moving. Those technological challenges. All right, so here's a brief overview of what we'll be going through. That is, what is BI? What questions can BI answer? Basic BI architecture, data warehousing, which is what really enables BI, data management, which talks to the data quality and the data management of our data visualization, which I've already mentioned that John will show us in practice what it does. and also the possible careers that you can take, like a path in BI. And finally, John will take us through that demo. Right. So before we can even talk about business intelligence, we need to understand the building blocks, right? And at the top there, the Data Warehousing Institute defines BI as the processes, technologies, tools needed to turn data into information, information into knowledge, and knowledge into plans that drive profitable actions. And data is simply just raw facts, figures, numbers, and quantities, which mean nothing. If you just put numbers on a screen, it means nothing. So every day we generate and create data in our daily lives. We are data subjects. So hence we are important as data subjects in the data life scale. So every time you step out to go to your local grocery store to get bread and milk, you generate data, and that data then gets collected, right? And that will be how many loaves of bread did you buy on that day? So that is the data piece there. And as a data analyst, you must be able to read, work with, and analyze and argue with your data. And that data then needs to be turned into information. Remember, we still with like the quantities, how many loaves of bread you bought, right? When we go into the information, this is now where we start understanding. When we add context to the data, we start understanding what the data means. So in the example of the retail grocer I gave, I said data is how many items you bought. Now these grocers have introduced, as you all know, your Pick and Pays and your Checkers loyalty programs. This is, of course, they want to give you discounts and all of that. But the main thing they do that is because they want to collect your data. So now they will know your name, your physical address, your email address, your cell phone number. And now they know that, for example, Miotlokwe went into a Pick and Pay in Midrand and bought a box of Pampers, right? So now you start analyzing that data. You start, being able to predict, to say Miotlokwe bought a box of Pampers. Maybe Miotlokwe had a baby in the past couple of months, right? And then they're gonna start, doing targeted campaigns based on where you are. Like, remember, you gave your address, based where you are, to say that the Pick and Pay in Midrand is running a special on Pampers. Have you ever been online searching for maybe a pair of sneakers, and everywhere you go, literally, those pairs of sneakers and other related sneaker style follows you everywhere you go. So that is how companies use data to then convert it into information so that they can then market the products, targeted marketing to you specifically based on your buying patterns, what you've been buying in the past, because history is the best teacher, right? We are then able to see how you use the data. So this is data in a nutshell, business intelligence, the concept, defining it. I hope that was clear. And then obviously we do business intelligence to then answer specific business questions, right? We want to predict future customer behavior. We want to improve our strategy. We want to be able to spot new opportunities, mine the data, and search for hidden patterns in the data, right? So these are some of the questions or some of the concepts that we want to answer when we embark on a business intelligence product. There's something called data mining. It's simply the process of analyzing huge batches of data and turning that into information to uncover patterns or insights And then we are able to say, what story is the data telling us? All this is to answer business questions. For example, the first one there says, business intelligence can help an entity surface insights on their products and services delivered. So in an example of the grocery store, when you go and buy, say, soup ingredients or coffee products in winter, because most people generally buy those products, they're able to say, okay, we need to increase demand. I mean, we have increased demand, so we need to increase supply in those months so that we are able to adequately stock our shelves so that our customers are always able to find those products. That's what that is about. Sales and growth. So a lot of retailers are now venturing into traditional banking services. So now you can draw money as you are paying for your grocery items. So that speaks to revenue growth by identifying new opportunities. So you're no longer just selling groceries, but you're also just providing other services that a bank, for example, would provide, like drawing cash. So to improve strategy, this is which can be obtained by gaining new customers and identifying which channels to maximize visibility. So as a company, you must always have your data strategy, what it means for the data that you're collecting, what you're going to do with it, and all of that to then make sure that you keep attracting new customers. The next one there is on customer loyalty. By measuring key elements about how users are engaging with your services and your products. So I spoke to loyalty programs earlier. So because now the retailers know who you are, and it can be anything, a bank, a pharmacy, or anyone who has a loyalty program. They now know who you are, they know where you live, therefore they can now tell your buying patterns. How then do they then use that data to do targeted marketing at that specific time for you? So that's what the customer loyalty programs do for these companies. They are able to then give you targeted marketing, because you are then able to say, if Miotlokwe is buying Pampers, then it means, he's got a baby and he's buying specifically maybe after the 25th. Then they start targeting you on specific days. The next one there talks to grow and engage your social media community. This can help businesses understand how social media activities related to behavior or interactions with an organization's key processes. So with social media, as an organization, you are able to buy a Twitter API that allows you to read data of Twitter. And with that, you are able to follow the trends, right? And sometimes companies trend for the wrong reasons. And you are able to pick that immediately because you are then constantly monitoring what is being said about your organization and the services that you offer. If it's negative, you're able to formulate a response as quickly as possible. And if it's positive, then you're also to ride the wave, right? We've seen Nando's doing that quite well. When they see something trending, they come up with a nice, catchy marketing campaign, and people are all over that. And which then, if people are talking about your brand, then it means, somehow you're doing well, right? On the last one, it speaks to forecasting. So this is when you're giving your data to companies, they go and analyze the history, and so that they can be able to sort of predict what might happen in the future. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what really BI is about. This is a simple or simplified model of BI architecture. So here we are now building. We are now building this BI that we're talking about. And how do we go about building this business intelligence? So right at the beginning, we looked at the definition of BI, and we said is the processes, the technologies and tools needed to turn data into information. And these, right here is that. So here we're going to have processes that load data into the warehouse, as well as the tools that you do that to load the data into the warehouse, your Oracle database, your SQL Server, your Teradata. These are the tools and the technologies. And also, once you go into the modeling of your data, you also use certain tools, as well as when you visualize your data. We've got a myriad of products we use to visualize data. Power BI, which is what John is going to show, is on the list there. ClickView, Tableau, MicroStrategy, there's Cognos, there's many others. Tools, of course, are not important. What is important is understanding the process that happens from when data gets into your data source, how it gets processed, and how it gets stored in your data warehouse. And in the example of the sales, of the buying from a grocery store, for example, so that data will be sitting in this data source. So as the teller is capturing or scanning your grocery item, that then goes into a table that stores all that information. And maybe at the end of day, we then transfer that data into this sales cube here, or sales data source here. And then we do ETL processes to then transform this data to load it into the data warehouse. ETL simply means extract, transform, and load. So extract the data from the data sources, transform it, apply any business rules that you want to apply, any granularity, filtering, however you want to filter. And then finally, you load it into the data warehouse, right? And from here, once your data is in the data warehouse, you can then create different models. So this one here is the business intelligence semantic model, which talks about the underlying data model. So a data model is an organized set of tables that relate to each other. So in our sales example, you will have a table perhaps containing products and another one containing customers. So you'll have a product table and a customer table. So by relating the two tables, you are able to know which customer bought which product, and you are also able to tell the top selling products, maybe by season, by month, by year, any of that. So that's what this thing speaks to here. And underpinning the model, you can see here I've got data quality services and master data management. This really speaks to data governance. As data professionals, we should be treating data as an asset. Make sure that it's protected, make sure we know who has access to that data, make sure that the data is clean, the data is, so that speaks to the data quality. So we've got about 6 data quality dimensions: the accuracy, the completeness, consistency, timeliness, validity, and uniqueness. So accuracy speaks to is your data accurate? Completeness, is your data complete as per your expectations? Consistency, is your data the same in all the systems? Because you can have different systems representing the same view of the data, but if they're not saying the same thing, then it means your data is not consistent in all the systems. You can go to system A, it tells you a different story. System B, it tells you a different story. Then it creates a whole mess. Timeliness of the data. So the data is relevant when you need it. If I want data today and you gave me data next week, the data is going to be stale. So the data needs to be relevant to what I want now. And then validity of the data, is your data valid? And the uniqueness. So uniqueness speaks to you being able to then say, for every record that you have of the data in your database, is your record unique? Are you able to then go to any database and be able to link your data elements to be able to get one line of data? So that's, in a nutshell, what data governance is. This is from DAMA, the wheel. If you want more information on this, you can go to the DAMA website, and there's plenty of information on how we do data governance. There's lots and lots of facets that speak to it. Earlier on, when I showed the BI architecture, we talked about the ETL, the data warehouse. So here, I'm just explaining those concepts, what they mean, like your extract, transform, and load. You get data from its original source system. If you remember in the architecture, there was sales, there was CRM, there was finance, whatever your data is. Of course, that depends on what business you are in, and then you are able to apply any rules to it, present it in different granularity levels, and load it in the destination tables in the data warehouse. And data warehouses are just little databases built within databases. And we talked about your data relating to each other. So with that, we built what we call facts and dimensions. Your fact is your measure. I talked about the quantity of what you're buying versus describing that which you're buying. So your dimension describes the measure. So that is who, what, where, when. So Miotlokwe bought a box of Pampers, Midrand Pick and Pay on this day. Why he bought it? He's got a baby. That's basically what it is. So we're able then to tell a story to say this is what happened with customer A, right? And dimensional modeling speaks to you building facts and dimensions. That's what it means. And to curate data out of a data warehouse, we use a language called structured query language, or what we simply just say SQL. And when you build a star schema, this is an example of a star schema. So with your star schema, you need to have primary keys and foreign keys linking to each other. So for example, in your fact table, your base fact table, you'll have your product ID and your product description. And then but this product ID will be in the fact as well as your staff ID will also be in here. Also your time dimension will also have dates where you can join to this big fact table, as well as customer ID. So this is how you are able then to relate the different tables together. The fact table always has your measures, remember. So this is how many, how much, and all of that. And your dimensions will have what, how, why, where. So this is what it speaks to. This is the simplified example of what a star schema is. Of course, in big organizations, this is bigger than what it is. It becomes complicated with lots of fact tables and lots of dimensions. So we do all of that, right? So once we've done collecting the data, massaging the data, cleaning the data, making sure that the data conforms and the data is loaded into our data warehouse, and we maybe organize the data into little data marts or data cubes to enable reporting, the ultimate goal is to be able to produce a data visualization that will tell a story. And as I said, John is going to show us how you then put this data into the BI model, how you clean the data and all of that, and eventually just show you the graphs that you can produce, how you slice and dice the data to give you a different view, or however you want to view the data. That's all in the visualization that John is going to show us later on. And also, okay, next is us talking about the different career paths that we can follow within business intelligence. And I thought we need to sort of link it with the fourth industrial revolution that we are currently experiencing now. But I thought let's remind each other what the first three were and how those were important to get us to where we are today. Klaus Schwab describes the Industrial Revolution as new technologies and novel ways of perceiving the world that trigger a profound change in economic and social structures. And that's really just talking to every industrial revolution had like one big, maybe technology or way of doing something that really transformed industries and continues to do so today. So in the first industrial revolution, we have steam, mechanical production. So that's when we really shifted from our reliance on animals, human effort, biomass as primary sources of energy to the use of fossil fuels and mechanical power, which enabled this. So the steam engine was powering agriculture and textile manufacturing. You had steamships and railroads that were transferring people from point A to point B. And the biggest thing in the first industrial revolution was really just farming. That was the main source of the economy, how we are growing economies. It was through farming. And the second one, the second industrial revolution, which happened in the 1870s, long time ago, was science, electricity, and mass production. These were scientific inventions. Think gasoline engines, airplanes, chemical fertilizers. These were things that came in the second industrial revolution. And also, I don't know if you guys are into cars, but I am. And I know that the Ford Model T by Henry Ford was the first car to be produced using the assembly line production concept, right? So people stand in a line and they put an object, pass it to the next person in the line, and they do it so and so on. So this is in predefined sequence, right? And as we know, the Ford Model T is widely regarded as a car that transformed industries, because now middle class was able to afford a car that would take them from point A to point B. Before then, normal citizens wouldn't be able to afford cars, right? And even today, the Ford Model T is still regarded as the car of the century. Also, the electric bulb came in, the radio, the telephone. So now when you mention the telephone, this is now when it transformed how we communicated with each other, right? This era saw people leave rural areas or remote areas to urban areas where factories now led urbanization in many parts of the world, right? So that was the second industrial revolution. The third one was in the 1960s. And this is the digital revolution. So this one really is the one that ushered in the internet. You might be connected to mobile right now, listening to this presentation. So that came in the third industrial revolution, the concept of a phone. This was mainframe computing, personal computing, and also TVs going from analog to digital. And this also then increased global communication to unprecedented levels. And this one really is the one that disrupted a lot of industries. And automation of production also happened. Remember when I said in the second industrial revolution, the assembly line production. So that now that is automated. It's no longer people standing in the line, it's a machine doing all of that. So this then took supply chain global. Right, let's get into the fourth one now, which is where we are currently. That's your cloud, that's your social, mobile, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. So each of the three, if you think about it, ushered in this one, the fourth one that we are in. Remember, from farming to factory to mechanical production. So this digital revolution transformed how people lived, how people worked, how people communicated. Now, we don't have flying cars yet, but we have robots, robotics, we have artificial intelligence. We are now going into 3D printing. Very soon, we'll be printing organs, like your liver and all of that, and you wouldn't need somebody to donate an organ to you. That's going to happen soon, I believe. And also how we shop, right? We now shop online, And there's also things that we take for granted. Think of the app that tells you the best route to work, or the activity watch that you wear on your wrist that tells you how many steps you've taken, how your heart rate is now too low or too high for your age, and things like that. So those are the innovations that are here currently and will continue to grow at an unprecedented rates. You might ask yourself that the third and the fourth industrial revolutions sound like, the same thing. Yeah, it sounds like it's an overlap. But then with the fourth industrial revolution, we're talking velocity and breadth and depth. Things are just going at a much higher rate, and technologies are just advancing. And these are not new technologies, they've been there, but now at a bigger scale and at a bigger velocity than we've ever seen. And then this then speaks to how then do we make sure that when we go into careers, we look at careers that can, stand the test of the best of time, right? In with data, right? Every single thing that we do generates data. And now going into fourth industrial revolution, this data becomes even, it's humongous, it's huge. And we need data professionals that will be able to work with this data. And so that's what I call the data revolution, right? And we need this data professional. So we have a data engineer, a data professional who focuses on building data pipelines, manages to get data from point A to point B. When I showed the BI architect picture there, you had sources and then ETL. So that's where the data engineer really plays their role. A data professional, data scientist is a data professional who focuses on producing insights and predictions from data. So this is the scientist who will go and use statistical model using tools like your R, your Python, even your SQL to produce insights and to do predictions from your data to say what's likely to happen in the next 2-3 years or whatever the case may be. With the BI analyst, so this is a data professional who makes data understandable for business, tells meaningful data stories, uses a range of tools to analyze and visualize the data. This could range from simple Excel to SQL to Power BI, to be able to then, after analyzing the data, they need to now say, okay, this is the story that I want to tell my business area to say, how is our business doing? This is when a data BI analyst comes in. With a data architect is a professional who builds database systems. A data architect also creates a blueprint and standards for developing, testing, and maintaining the database. So largely the data engineer works very closely with the data architect, because the data architect then defines the framework where the data engineer is supposed to operate. And then we have data security specialists. Currently, criminals or hackers are relentlessly attacking big organizations. So it's important that you have a data security specialist within your organization. So this is a data professional who focuses on securing an organization's data assets, implement security policies, and also respond to cyber attacks. So it's very important that you have this person, because all the advances that hackers are always on the ball when it comes to how they can attack an organization, because data is the new oil, data is the new currency. I know these sound cliche, but that really is what it is. Data is that important asset that you should be protecting as you would protect money, like a bank would secure like vaults to store all the monies that they have. Same as data, we should make sure that data is secure at all times. And then you also have a big data developer. A big data developer is a professional who builds Hadoop applications. This is engineering on non-traditional databases, like your MongoDB, your Cassandra, your HBase. So this big data developer is really similar to what a data engineer does. But a data engineer works on normal traditional data warehouses, whereas big data developer, because now we're getting a lot of data that is coming in at a fast pace, and that is big to be processed in a normal DB. Then came the big data developers. So if a data engineer is using SQL, for example, the big data developer would be using your R, your Python, your Scala, your Hadoop, all these tools that they'd be using to do their models. Now you might ask that why does it seem like this data careers look the same? Well, these jobs, by their very nature, have a lot of overlaps. I've seen data architects build BI models. I've seen BI analysts build dashboards. I've seen data scientists build data pipelines, doing ETL jobs. So for me, if you just start in data, I believe that you can move from one career to another, because at the end of it all, it's all about the data that you need to process. So, and each role, of course, there's differences, there's subtle differences, but at the bigger picture, it's all just like similar career. So you might ask yourself then, how do I get into this world of BI? Well, it might help to have a degree in analytics and maybe computer science and all of that. But really, for me, I don't think it is important, yes. But if you have passion for numbers, you have the curiosity to learn, and you just go on and learn by yourself, you can do a career in any of these in these industries. And if you just apply yourself, I believe that is using places like Udemy, for example, or Coursera, EDX, even your YouTube, just to see how something is done. There's a lot of YouTube where people just go and put how to build a data model in BI, for example. You can go and watch that. There's free tools that you can also download on the internet and start playing with these tools. Start doing it, because when you do it, then you are practicing, you become better, and all of that. So I think that is my piece. This is where I end. Thank you so much. I believe there might be questions before we get into the demo, the practical demo.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think my question is, if you go to the careers, like I think you explained to me about data governance. What do you call that role? Your mic.
Can you hear me?
No, your mic is not clear. Yeah, if you can just go back to those careers, right? Yeah. So this, I think you showed us that is the wheel where you talk about data governance, right? What is the person who's responsible for this? Do you have a role particular for someone looking in a company, for example, looking at this issue related to data governance? I think there's something wrong with your mic. Maybe you can unplug and plug back again.
So
Yeah, sorry, your mic, I think is have a problem. So I was suggesting that maybe you can unplug and plug, because it's not clear. I'm hoping that's happened to everyone. We can't hear you.
Yeah, if maybe I can try to assist Miotlokwe while we are waiting for. Yeah. So in most cases, you find that for that area, the data governance to be well managed, that's where you will some of the depending on the organization, but you will find that they've got what you call the data stewards, from various areas. So if you have got a finance department, commercial, whatsoever, so they've got the data stewards who are actually responsible for the processes to make sure that their data is well governed and is well it's the processes are well defined and the data is well governed.
Oh, okay. Also, we'll be working with the data stewards from different areas.
Yeah, 100%, because for you to be able to manage the organizational data, it might be very big. And as an analyst, you have seen like what Muchachi has been showing that say you are just a BI analyst, you may not really be well versed with some of the sections or the areas. And therefore, you will need some expertise or the experts from those areas to help you understand what they're dealing with or the data that they deal with. Also, their processes as well. So it is important that for you to be able to coordinate this well, you need to work closely with those people.
Great, thanks. Any question from you, friends who are with us? No, I don't know what happened after your session, because you were very clear, and then before know it, we can see what you are sharing. Just try again. Yeah, I think we have the problem. So, friends, if you maybe while she's still trying to sort the mic, do you have any question for her? Or of course, John is here.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, I've joined the meeting late because I had a misunderstanding of the link that we were supposed to use. I've joined while the facilitator Mojaji was on page 11. So I don't know what you guys were talking about in other pages.
Okay, I think let's say so that you can just she'll just wrap up. To just give us the very quick the of what she was talking about. Yeah, I understand that people saying they got different links, but I think I'll address that. Yeah. So Anela also, let's hear from Anela also. When she's back, she'll answer you. Anela.
Okay, hi guys. My question is about, she mentioned that you can, once you have the interest for data, you can use like things to try and learn things by yourself. But is that enough, for example, now to join a company? Is that enough experience for you to join a company as a data analyst or something? That's my question.
Thank you. John, I believe you had both questions, but maybe you can take this last one. And then you will explain to her the other question that were asked.
Look, a very interesting question, Anele. But let me try to answer you this way. I think, everything has got its own beginning. If you really want to become, say, like a data analyst, obviously you will have to start somewhere. What I know is that if you look at these roles, especially data analysts, BI, developers, and so on. So most of the people who become experts in those areas are those who spend much time, learning through any social media, like on the YouTube, and on all the other sides.
Maybe Mr. John, I think you're also moving away from your mic. If maybe you can speak directly to that, we will hear you clearly.
Okay, so am I clear now?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Yeah, I was saying that because you're asking if it will be sufficient, just to learn through any other available platforms, and then you apply for a job. Say, for an example, you want to become a data analyst. So the point that I was making is that everything has got its own beginning. So if you really want to be a data analyst, obviously you will have to start somewhere. And as to how actually you want to start learning, so there are different ways, of really killing a cat. So the point I was making is that most of the people who really become experts in those areas, like analysts, they spend much time trying to explore new things. On the platforms that Mojaji has mentioned, like your YouTube, the sites such as Coursera, such as EDX, such as LinkedIn, and you name them. So it can be sufficient, to be a data analyst. What is actually important now, for sure, you could have seen that after you've applied the job, you passed the interview, they still take you through the assessments, where they might, like I attended one at MultiChoice, where they give you maybe a data, and you need to actually turn that data into information and eventually knowledge or the business intelligence. So it might be sufficient depending on, I think we learn differently. You can always find and engage with those who are already in the, in the field, just to confirm and ascertain that whatever that we've accumulated or learned, does it really make sense? Do you think that is sufficient enough? I'm not so sure, Anele, if this answers your question.
Yeah, or maybe to extend to add to her question, right? Do we have a certification? I think we can go to YouTube and I can do this thing.
Oh yes.
What do we have a certification that one maybe can explore, and yes. How is that? Yeah.
Okay, no, 100%. I know, like if you look at Microsoft Power BI, so there's a certificate, and there are actually a number of schools, like there's IT, is it Talk IT? Is one of the organizations that they will teach you the Power BI, and ultimately you'll have to write an exam and get the certificate. You can check with Microsoft, and there's a NetCampus. NetCampus does actually offer these BI tools, including a Microsoft Power BI. So you can get it, or Coursera as well. It's an online course, and you can do it at your own time and pace. So you can actually register online, and you do those particular courses and get the certification. So they're quite many, yes.
Yeah, but then is the fund that you still need to get the diploma or degree, or maybe it's like other things where certificate is sufficient. I mean, just you purely on your experience now.
Yeah, you know what, Miotlokwe, it's a very I can't really say that for somebody to become an analyst should have maybe accumulated a degree or a diploma, but it is advisable that people go to school and those certificates and so on. But what I've seen that we've seen people with a master's degree, but when it comes to the scale, when they say go and develop this dashboard or write this model, they always struggle. I think it's more about like the dedication than anything else. So for me, is to go to learn. Are you able to apply what we've learned? Can you come up with the results? Can you interpret? Can you tell a story out of these results and so on? But yeah, so I've seen that in most cases, the companies, they will say they're looking for somebody with computer science, statistics, mathematics, and all. But if you look at BI now, it's broad. Because even the engineering people who are doing geology, like it's just all over. So you don't really have. They are not specifically looking for only a BSc mathematics, computer science, and stats, or maybe applied maths. So there's more.
Yeah, thanks. The other question was, I think they joined our session late, right? Maybe my answer to that is we're going to share this presentation that Mojaji was sharing with us, so that we can just recap. And then also we are having this will be available on YouTube. If you receive the invite for this, there is a link that we shared in there. But after this meeting, I'll also just to share the link to this session so that you can recap. The question I think was coming from, the name just came out of my mind now, but she was just saying that she joined late. What did we cover, right? So my answer is that we will share this presentation together with the YouTube link where one can go and catch up there. Yeah, is that sufficient? I just forgot who asked this question.
It's Nokubonga. Yes, I heard you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And any other question for Mujaji?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I see a question here from TT.
Oh yes. Can
you hear me?
Yes.
No.
You are clear now.
Okay. So the question is, if I have information technology degree, can I still apply for any of these jobs? As we've said, you need to indicate the practical side that you are able to do these jobs. As John was saying, answering these questions before, he was saying that some people with degrees, you give them data and say, do analysis and produce a data model, and they can't. And some of the best people that I've worked with don't have degrees. They just have a lot of experience, and they just have lots of curiosity to learn and do these things. And if you go onto, say, GitHub or Kaggle and build like your models, and that so that when you go for an interview, you have some practical background to say, guys, this is what I've done. They can go onto there and see exactly what you've done, the models that you've built, whatever career that you want to follow. But you need to back it up with some practicality, if I can put it like that.
Great, thanks. So about practicality, let's give John opportunity to show us some of those practicalities so that we just have an idea of what are the things that one may look at. Yeah, John? We can see your screen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, thank you very much. I'm glad you can see my screen, and thank you, family, for joining. I'm not going to. I think they've already introduced my name. My name is John Masekwameng. Yes, I've also been, in this data analysis and BI for some time now. I think it's been more than 10 years, and particularly in the aviation industry. So what I'll be doing, I'll be just sharing with you. I've just selected these particular topics. I know there are quite a number of issues that we can talk to with regards to the BI or the business intelligence. But we have just, chosen to use the Power BI to demonstrate some practical side of what Mujaji has been talking about. So there are quite a number of BI tools, like I think she has mentioned the ClickView, the Tableau, the ClickSense, Crystal reports. They're just absolutely many. So in our case today, I've just, we'll be demonstrating using Microsoft Power BI. So there's a free version that one can download for practice. If you go to powerbi.com, so you can be able to download the Power BI desktop. So in case you want to do or you want to practice, you just want to play with data and see what you can come up with. So you can do that. So for today's session, I want us to actually learn how to import the data from various data sources. You have seen, from what Mujaji did actually show one slide that was talking to, different data sources through and being integrated into the data warehouse through the ETL processes, the extract, transform, load processes, and eventually visualize the data using different BI tools. So I think she has mentioned the Power BI, the Tableau, and so on. Like as I've indicated, in our case, it's only Power BI. We'll then actually try transform the data in case if it's not transformed from the data source, and we'll analyze and visualize the data. So this is basically, trying to turn the data into the business intelligence or information for decision making. So all these particular steps are very critical and will emphasize when we start with the practical. So, and once actually you've analyzed or visualized your data, then you will have to publish that data. So in most cases, people use the Power BI desktop, right? And that's where they create the report. I'll show you what actually we mean by Power BI desktop. That's where they create their reports and the dashboards and everything. And once they're done and they're happy with their reports and dashboards, they then publish their work. And once the work has been published, it then goes to the Power BI service, or what you call the portal. So from the portal, so it doesn't only go into the portal, but it also goes into the app, like your phone. So if you have got, the Power BI app that has been downloaded on your phone, you are also able to see whatever that you've published. For an example, if your boss calls you and say, we want to know the trends, with regards to the safety or the occurrences, you don't really have to run to the office, to your laptop. You can just log on your cell phone and, send that particular report. You can share that particular report, or maybe you can just tell your manager, or give the report to the manager instantly, So it's more convenient as compared to other tools. So, and the other thing that I think Mujaji did try, to touch on is to how to tell the story. You can do all these good things with data. You can manipulate the data. You can come up with very nice visuals. But are you able to tell the story? Because remember that we are working with different people. So we've got managers and supervisors, and some of them are not actually good in these particular numbers, or maybe the visuals. You get my point. So it is important that at the end of the day, you must be able to tell the story. After you've analyzed, say you have been appointed as the BI analyst, and now you visualized your data, and you've analyzed your data. So you must be in a good position to say that, in the next 3 years or 4 years, as Mujaji has mentioned, I think, we should have, or maybe we are likely, there's what we call the customer churn. I don't know if you heard of that. So you must be able to say that in the next 3-4 years, therefore, we are likely to lose the following customers. Customer A, B, and C are likely to leave us for the competitor. Maybe there's a new organization that does the same. So your data, you must be able to tell that story, so that if there's a need for the management to put the mitigation in place, they're able to do so. And the last thing that actually I'm going to touch on is to how to collaborate. Now that you are able to tell the story, so you must be able to actually deliver your insights through different services. So I know companies differ, they do differ. So, but you must be able to collaborate your results. I know you'll actually publish them on the Power BI service, but you may also share the insights via the SharePoint, provided your organization is using SharePoint or the Microsoft Teams. So this way you can upload the files or your report, or maybe you via the Power Apps. Power App is one of the Microsoft product that they use to build some apps, etc. So colleagues, let us not really waste time. I will stop sharing this, but this is what we are going to cover. Like as I've indicated, there is just absolutely so many things that we can talk about, but I just felt if we can just confine ourselves to these topics for today, and maybe in future we can touch more. I'm going to stop sharing this and get to the data.
Yeah, I can get in there also, John. John, yes. He will be using one of the data that we've been using during our first phase, where we're talking about data analysis. For those who did not manage to attend our first phase, where we're talking about the data analysis using Excel, those presentations is also there on YouTube. I'll just be sharing that link to YouTube where you can catch up on that. So I just wanted to mention to the friends.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, very important point. Thank you so much. Yes, we have just, decided to say, let us, use the same data that you guys have been using for, when you were doing analysis using Excel with Miotlokwe previously. So obviously, I think this data looks familiar. You'll recall that the data you're using, it was COVID data. So where you had the patient and
I think you are moving away from the mic again.
Oh, sorry. Am I okay now?
Yes, clear.
Okay, no, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was saying that I believe that colleagues are familiar with this particular data. So it's like the first field there, is the patient number, and you have got your surname, you have got the initials of that patient, the title of that patient, the gender, the cell phone number, and the ID number for that patient, the province where the patient's coming from, and the age for the patient, and the amount that that patient has. I think it's the cost. How much actually that patient, the cost for that particular patient, and whether the patient was quarantined or not quarantined. So, and I think there was another sheet. That sheet, I think there was just a sheet or maybe another data that is related to that. So if you look at the first sheet here, it doesn't have the text, but with this one, so it has got the text. So I've decided to demonstrate what Mojaji has shown you, even though I cannot go in depth, where actually she was speaking about the fact table as well as the dimension using the primary key and the foreign key. So I'll try to demonstrate that when we build our model before we start with the analysis. And I've also decided to include this sheet. I think there was a point where Miotlokwe did demonstrate, do some kind of an analysis using this type of data. It's the sales data where you've got the salesperson and you have got, the amount that that salesperson has made. So we've got, the period from May to October. So this is what Ngoveni COVID-19. Okay, those who never attended the sessions before, so Miotlokwe just decided to come up with these names, COVID-19, sanitizer Maluleke, PP Maseko, and so on. So I know very amusing, but this is actually, I think it was just for, for demonstration purposes. So we'll be using this kind of data to create some, visualizations or turn this data. What you see here is the raw data. You'll recall that Mojaji has shown you that we start from the raw data and we turn it into information. It then becomes the knowledge. We know that as the company, this is where we stand, and everything starts here. Okay, so I cannot overemphasize that. I will stop sharing this. I just wanted us to be familiar with this data before we get to the Power BI. And now I'm going to quickly share the Power BI desktop. I just want to check, guys, if I'm slow, if I'm fast, if I'm okay. If you are quiet and I'm not so sure, like how are you feeling? Do you think that the pace is good? Maybe Miotlokwe, you can answer, or Mojaji on their behalf.
From my side, I'm fine. I mean, when you are here, perhaps maybe you can show us where to do click before you come here. I think that maybe might be key.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, so great stuff. So once you download, like as I've indicated, that there's a free version that you can Google. You can even go via Google, or you can actually go to the powerbi.com, right? Then you will have to download this. And once it's downloaded, then it will then be available on your machine. So once we click on the Power App BI desktop, because now you have downloaded that, it will now take you to this window. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes.
So firstly, you cannot actually have this without having downloaded the Power BI desktop version first. Firstly, you need to download it, and if there's a free version, you can actually download it, and you will have an access to this. So I think this is something that you guys maybe you can just do because if you can try to go through the entire process, so some will take longer to download and so on. But maybe after the session, we can always make the steps, available in terms of how. But it's always simple. If you Google Power BI free version, you will always be able to. Miotlokwe?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, great stuff.
Yeah, actually, I'm downloading it from my site. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you are quiet. Okay. Yeah. All right, that's fine, colleagues. So this is how actually the Power BI looks. So this is actually your desktop. So what actually you see here? Okay, first I will try to explain these three. The one that you see on your left. So you have got your model. This way actually you create the relationship. I think Mojaji did touch about fact table and the dimensions. So they are defined here. So it is quite important that before you start with the analysis, this is where actually you build, you need to start, right? And this is where you'll be able to see your data, like in the row and column format, right? And here is the report. This is where you'll be able to see your visualization, right? First step, we have agreed that we are going to start by importing the data from any source. In our case, we'll be using Excel. And the Excel is the one that I was taking you through just now. So now, let's go try get the data. So you can see that, okay, let me just click one more so that, colleagues can really they can have a bigger view so that they don't think that we can only import the data from Excel. If you look at, the different sources that are available, so you can import the data sitting from absolutely more than more than 100 data sources. So you can either import from Excel, or maybe if you have got a text or a CSV file or XML file or JSON file, or maybe from your data is sitting on the SharePoint, or maybe from the SQL server, so that's just quite a lot, and those who are already actually migrated from on-premise to the cloud, they say, like in this case, if they use the Azure environment, some they use the AWS environment, so you can actually be able to import. So in this particular case, if your data is sitting in the cloud, you can still actually import the data sitting there. Whether actually you saved your data in the, like those who actually worked on the cloud environment. So you can actually build the resource groups, and in those resource groups, you can build your storage, your data factory, your data bricks, and you can always read from all those from here. So there are quite many. So in our case, so because we don't have time, we cannot demonstrate all the examples. So we have just chosen that let's use the data that the colleagues or the family is familiar with. And in this case, it's the same data that we have been dealing with. So I'm going to select Excel in this case and go to the location where the data is saved. So I've just created a folder, it's on my desktop, and I've called this the Power BI demo. It's the same data that you were seeing just now. Okay. So it's still actually loading.
And when it's still loading, the colleagues that maybe they do not have this data, I will also just share this on the email that I'll send after this session.
Yeah. So because, and you see, it's very interesting here. It's very interesting because what you see, you have got more, you see more than what you saw when I was showing Excel, in Excel. Because in Excel, I've hidden some of the sheets that are unnecessary, or the ones that I'm not going to actually use in this particular case. So that's why actually you see all of them, when you import. But in this case, for this exercise, I'm just going to select the ones, that I'm going to use, right? So once you select, you see the data you're gonna use, there's a preview. You can be able to go through this data here before you can even import this data, right? You can just confirm, is this the correct data? Before you can even load it, you can quickly go through those fields. And if you are satisfied, then is there any other sheet that you want to import? Yes, I want this one. You will recall that I've shown you that there's a field that talks to the text, and the other one doesn't actually have that. So this one, you'll see that there's a field here that talks to the amount, so it's included there. And there's another one which is actually sales, and so all these are the ones that I've just shown you. So the first step that actually you do before you can load the data, you must just check if your data needs some kind of transformation. So do you want to clean up anything? So far, it's just that I've cleaned up this particular data from the source itself. There were some columns and rows that were not needed, so I had to delete them before I could even import the data in here. However, I still want to take you through the transformation route. The first step is that you need to try transform your data, right? So you'll click on the transform. So this is where you try to clean up your data, right? So in case if there's anything that you don't really want, okay. So I'm going to try just do something. I'm going to actually select, for an example, October period, right? And say, for an example, you realize that you don't really need, you don't need this October, in your analysis. So this is where you will have to remember from the source, it was like this. And when it gets here, you realize that, no. By the way, my boss said that we should only analyze the data from May to September. So we want to exclude October. So now
Mr. John, for me, I just see, I think you're right click, but I don't know where, because it's like a blank here. I'm not sure if it is the case with other friends there.
Oh, really?
I see your BI is still opened. I think you click the transform, and then now is blank, and then the other side is a filter, this page, add field, but I did not see anything.
When I click, okay,
you right clicked, I think now we can see, yes. I can see you right clicked. Oh, okay, is that part of the process? Okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Can everyone confirm if they can see my screen? I think it's quite important that
I can see, yeah.
we are on the same page. Okay. Yeah. So let's say in this particular case, we say that no, you see, there are quite a number of things that you can do here, right? So you can either remove, you can duplicate this particular column and maybe name it something else.
Maybe, sorry to get in again. What I'm saying is, right, and then other colleagues, please just let me know, because maybe I might be the one who's missing the point, right? I thought now I should be seeing the data, and then when you right click, like now as you said, if you want to do something, which sheet are you working on? For example, maybe it's my question.
Can I just come in there, Miotlokwe?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So John has right-clicked, right? So it's giving him the different options. So he's then explaining what each option means, what you can do when you right-click on that specific item. So he hasn't gone into the sheet yet.
Oh, yet. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not so sure what you are seeing that side, but just tell me what maybe I can do. Just tell me what do you see now? I've selected the sales data now, so I'm on the sales data. So I'm just not sure.
Then therefore, I was expecting to see that sales data there, but I do not see it.
Oh, really? Yeah. So
am I the only one who don't see the data, friends?
I can also not see anything.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to try. I'm just not so sure if maybe I move to the next step, maybe it doesn't really show.
Yeah. So maybe if you can go to that where you say transform, and then to see if maybe it can pull the data again, because here.
Okay. Yeah. No, not a problem. Not a problem. I will try. Okay. Yeah, it's important that actually you see that those steps. I think they're very, very important. But can you still see the desktop now?
Yes, we can still save in your Power BI desktop. Yeah, now
Okay.
you
Yeah, I'm going to
it.
try share
Yes.
again.
Yes.
I'm going to try share again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to try the same thing.
Yes.
Okay. So I think I've already explained, the different data sources, and I'm now actually importing my data from Excel.
Yeah.
Right. And then you open that, and it will now take you here. So
yes.
Can you see
yes.
this part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So now I've indicated that in this case, you will see more because in the Excel spreadsheet, I've hidden this like table 1, table 2, table 4. That's why you couldn't see it that side. But in this case, I've indicated that we are going to use the following.
Yeah.
Those 3, right?
Yes.
So I was here. So when I click on the transform, right?
Yeah.
So let me know if you can see that screen, right? Are you able to see that screen?
It's still loading. It seems like it's still loading. So we can see the blank screen on the right-hand side. We'll see filter on this page, add field here, filter on all pages. But at the middle, there's no data yet.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
so,
I'm not sure whether maybe whether it's because you selected all of them or what. When it transform, right? I think maybe it's because you selected all those tables. Maybe if you select one and then it transform, perhaps.
Well,
John,
hello.
I think it's because you are on the visualization and we haven't visualized anything yet. I think if you go to the one under visualization, that's where we'll see the
okay. No, 100%. Okay, that's fine, Miotlokwe. I will still try show that, and thanks for that, Mutaji. Okay, that's fine. So, I think I'll try explain that in the visualization area, because here we're just in the transformation. So basically here we're trying to clean up what we don't want to see. And if maybe, for an example, we want to turn, say there are some values that we want to turn into like percentages, then we can actually do that and so on. So let me try, because I'm so worried if my colleagues there.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what might be the problem. Can you share the whole screen, your screen? Because sometimes if you share that particular application, when you click something and other thing must open, we will only going to see that screen. Maybe you can share your whole desktop when you share. Yeah.
Okay.
When you share, maybe let's not go to specific. Yeah, if you share the whole desktop, then I think we can able to see everything.
You mean the screen?
Screen, yeah, screen. If you share the screen.
Okay, let me try. Okay.
Yeah, now we can see the, maybe just go there. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try just do one, like as we've mentioned, right?
Yes.
Then I'll come back, okay?
Yeah.
Because we'll need all of them just in one environment.
Yes,
okay?
I think that, now we can see. I think that was the problem, actually. Everything was showing. Yeah, now we can see. I think the issue was that we are sharing. Yeah, so it's fine. Now we can see it. Proceed, thanks.
Okay, yeah. So the concept that I'm trying to explain here is the data transformation. So if you look at on your right-hand side, we've got the steps or applied steps, right? So as I was indicating is that, say like, for an example, this is the column that you don't want. You just want to actually remove this column, right? I was giving an example to say that you receive a call just before you can start analyzing the, your data from your boss saying, look, John, we no longer need the data from May to October, but instead, we want the data from May to September, right? So now you want to actually remove this column. So October has been removed, and that particular step is available there. So whatever the step that, so this works more like the transaction log. The step that you take then is also recorded there. So if you want to go back, you just have to remove that step and you should have your October back. I'm not so sure if you guys, you are following.
Yeah.
Okay, 100%. So now there's just quite a lot. If you right click here, so there's a lot that actually you can actually do with this this data, like the duplicate. So you can duplicate the column that you have selected. If you click duplicate, for an example, so you can see that now you have got the copy of October, right? So you have got October and it says October copy. And what you can do, again, you can say that, no, I want to rename this October. So let's say we've got September now, right? So you can actually name that September, right? So there are just so many things that you can do. Say like you are done now, you are happy with all transformations, or is there anything that maybe I can transform further? Let me see. Maybe you can select September and let's see. We can replace, okay. No, I don't want to actually split that because it will mess with my data and so on. Let's say you're done with the transformation. You are happy, your data is clean. For sure, you have seen, if you were listening carefully, when Mujaji was trying to explain the concept of data governance. So he also touched on the data quality, you know, because if your data actually is not clean, therefore your results are not going to be correct and ultimately are not going to be trusted, you know, by the business users as well as your management. So it is quite important that the data that you have is of high quality, it's reliable, it's complete, so that if there are missing values here, so you need to ensure that you resolve all those particular issues here. So you transform them. And once you're happy with it, then you go to the close and apply. You can actually apply whatever changes that you've made, and you can see it's just that I've loaded quite many here because initially I've loaded and I didn't, but that's fine. So
yeah, when they're still loading, right? I just want to say to the colleagues, I think we said this session will be ending at past, and then we have 2 minutes to go. So I'll ask that maybe you can just give us additional, how many minutes, John?
Yeah, I think I can try do this actually in 15 minutes, but I will have to rush a little bit.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thanks, friends.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Miotlokwe. So as I've explained before, you will see that there's what the Power BI actually has done now. So without me going to create the relationship, right? So it went into those particular sheets and tried to check if there's any relationship. In this particular case, you can see that already, if you double click on this, you are able to see the kind of relationship that has built. So in this case, it's many to one. So in this case, I think because there is no text in there, but if you look at the patient number, this is a unique or unifier or a primary key that was used actually to build this relationship. So I will not actually overemphasize that, as Mujaji has explained that concept. But this is where you need to define, you know, your relationships or your model. This is, you know, where your dimensions as well as your fact table are defined. And if you want to see the data that you're dealing with, so this is your data again, you can still go through it to say, okay, fine, add all columns, okay, fine. So now you want to start creating the report, right? So now let's actually start with this data, the COVID PBI. So this is the environment where you need to create your dashboard or maybe your report based on the data, right? So already you can see that there is work that has already been done. This is the power of Power BI because it's more like, you know, in Excel, so maybe you should have firstly created the pivot table to summarize that particular data, but here it has already done that for you. So the Power BI went and see the age, you speak of the number, that's why that summation, the amount is the number, cell phone number is the number, and so on. But you need to be very careful when you create the report. There are things that you can do, there are things you cannot do. So you must actually, okay, we'll just try, you know, build something very quickly. We can actually, you just drag and drop, right? So if you drag the same name, start with the same name, you put it there, So you're going to actually have all those particular patients, right? And you can say, I want to plot the graph that will show me all the patients and how much actually they did the cost or the amount, right? So if you click the surname and the amount, therefore you've got the table there. So here you've got the different visualizations that you can use. So you can select that table and maybe say that I want to use the clustered bar chart, right? So you've got the clustered bar chart there, and you can actually drag that, you know, just to show that so far you can see that the person who spent quite a lot of money the patient is Mokoena. So, and that's the amount. As you hover your mouse there, so the Power BI is able to also show you, you know, the what is actually in that particular graph. And alternatively, you can right click or maybe click on this particular three dots and show the data. So it will show you the data together with, you know, it will give you more information about the chart that you see. In case you don't understand what is in there, you can just click on those three dots and say, show the data. It will show you what is actually in there. So now, this is one of the visualization that you have created. And maybe if you're happy, then you want to build more. So in this particular case, say, so let's see, maybe in terms of so now we are showing the data in terms of the patient as well as the amount. Maybe one can say that, can we see the same data maybe in terms of the province? You can actually do the same if you click on the province and you click maybe the amount, right? And you see now, so I've just selected, instead of using the clustered, then I've selected the map. And the Power BI is so clever enough to see that now you are talking about the locations, right? That's why it is, you know, easier to present the data in this particular format. But if you were, you know, let's just go back to this one. If you want to present this information using the map, it may not be, you see, your map will just be blank because it doesn't really understand. So you are only dealing with the surname and the amount. But if you go and maybe select any other, you know, a visualization, it will now understand that, okay, fine. You see, so it is important that as an analyst, you know what to use, and you must be guided by the type of the data that you are dealing with. So in this particular case, we're able to show, you know, the patients and the, I mean, the province, the amount by the province, right? So we can see that Johannesburg had two, I think it was actually the largest in terms of the costs, you know, and then we've got, say like Northern Cape has got only 52, it has spent only 52,000, and we've got, you know, Western Cape and so on. So you can also expand this particular map and you can do the same. You can say that show the data, it will still show the map as well as the information right there. So now, let's say you want to quickly, you know, just manipulate your data, or okay, let me just quickly maybe build something else before I can actually include the slicers. If you recall, is that I think Miotlokwe did take you through, you know, how to apply some, you know, what do you call the formatting, conditional formatting, as well as how to apply the slicers and so on. So those are some of the concepts that I would love to demonstrate very quickly. Maybe before we can even do that, let us try build something else, right? Maybe in this case, what can we do? Okay, the gender, for an example. So let's actually take the gender, and we want to build the gender, and in terms of, let's say, the amount as well. Okay, we can say amount, and maybe in this case, we want to use the pie chart, right? So you've got a nice pie chart there, and when you move your mouse, you can see that the females, you know, because it was 59.3%, and the males actually, their cost was, you know, only 40.1%. But I want to quickly actually build just a table, because I think I don't want to just use one example. So remember here, you are trying to build, you're trying to make sense, right, out of the data. You know, like as Muja just mentioned, you had the raw data, but you need to make sense out of it, so that when you look at this, already you understand what's going on. If you look at this at ends, you can tell that, oh, by the way, Mokwen, and we still have to find out where is that Mokoena coming from? Is that Mokoena coming from Northern Cape, Limpopo, and so on, right? So now, just before, because there's more that actually I can create now, I just want to quickly create maybe a table. So instead of a chart, I'll just create a table. Let me just, and by creating the table, you just actually go and click, right? And I know one may actually ask as to, are all the only visualizations that we have? No, absolutely no. So if you click here, you can go and import other visualizations available in the marketplace. So you can go and click there and you'll be able to import whatever that you want to import in case it's not actually available here. So in this case, I just want to show, let's say we can show, what can we show? Maybe the surname, and then we also want to show if this particular person has been quarantined or not, and maybe we can also show if this person is a male or female, the gender as well, we can show that. Yeah, so we can show that. So family, what I want to demonstrate now is very, very interesting. With the Power BI, as long as you have got the data like that, you can quickly build your slicers. The first one that maybe we can build, let's just say, here's the slicer. You can just actually click where you want to put your slicer first, right? Let me undo that.
Oh, this is interesting. They even call it the slicer even this side.
Yes, so it's very interesting. So it's the same slicer that you demonstrated the other day from that Excel session. So now you can just click on the slicer that you want to build, right? So let me just position my slicer and put it over there, right? So now that you have got the slicer, you just have to go and click to say, I want to filter maybe using the gender, right? So you've got your gender there, and you can just, if you want to use the drop down, you can use drop down. If you want to use like the, what do you call the list, you can actually select the list. But because you want the, you want to actually, what do you call, improvise in terms of the space, I normally use the drop down so that you can have enough space to create your charts over there. So now, before we can demonstrate this particular slicer, I just want to quickly create another slicer, and let me actually position it and put it over there. And I want to call this slicer, I want to actually use maybe filter by province. We have got all the provinces, and I'm just going to collapse that and use the drop down list. And then maybe lastly, I can actually try and understand, because now say your boss comes and say, John, now that you've analyzed, I just want to see only people who are from Limpopo, those who have been quarantined, if there's any that was actually quarantined. So I can build another slicer there to say that, look, I want quarantine to be yeah, I want a slicer line. So you can actually slice anything as long as that particular field is available in your data set, right? So now we've got age, we've got amount, we've got cell phone, we've got gender, everything. So, but you just have to know, is it possible? So that's the first question. For sure, if you're listening to Mujaji carefully, she actually kept on emphasizing that you really need to be curious in this particular field. You must always ask yourself quite a lot of questions. Is this going to be possible? How is it going to look like? And you must try all those things. You know, for you to master all these things, you need to go and try that. Colleagues, without any waste of time, let's say for an example now, because we've got our slicers, we just want to show the data, right? Just observe what happens. Let's say we just want to filter a Limpopo province. What we want to see here must be Limpopo related, but nothing else. When you click on Limpopo, you see now. So everything has changed now. So the people that you see here, so they're from, all of them here, they're from Limpopo, right? What you see here is only the Limpopo province, the data. And what you see here, all these females are from Limpopo. And this table as well is from Limpopo. So that is very interesting, you know, with the Power BI. And one can say that, no, look, John, I want the people from Limpopo, but not all of them. I just want to see the females. Then you can go there and say, maybe like click on the females, right? So it will only show you the people in Limpopo who are females, right? So whatever the filter or maybe the slides that you apply there, so it actually synchronized, right? So it's gonna just show you what you have just applied. And one can say that, no, you can clear a slicer for an example and say, okay, let me just clear that. Yeah, so you can say, I want the people who are quarantined only, those who are quarantined, right? And interestingly, with this, if you go to the province, automatically, it will show you if that particular province was included. So in this particular data set that we are dealing with, so it already tells us that the only people who were quarantined are from these 3 provinces, which are actually Eastern Cape, Gauteng, and Western Cape, right? So if, say for an example, I say those who were not quarantined, right? And you click on the province. So it shows you that we also have people, it shows you all of them there, right? So now I just want to quickly select, say, Western Cape as a province and show the people that were not quarantined and the people who are actually males, right? So it will even show you here on the table, you can see that Buthelezi, Jwara, and whoever were males and they were not quarantined and they're from Western Cape, right? So with the slicers, you can do quite a number of things. Because of time family, there is more I can demonstrate, but there are just few things that I just want to demonstrate using what we call the DAX formula. You could have heard of the DAX formula, which stands for the data analysis expression. So this is a language that has been developed by Microsoft to interact with data in variety of platforms, right? So it's like any other language, but it is used merely, in the Power BI. So we just want to actually see how it works. All right. So I'm going to just stay here and try to get if there's any question, or maybe we'll have those questions at the end. What's your feeling, Miotlokwe?
Yeah. So if you can touch on the last points that you want to touch on, that you want to show us.
Okay. No, great stuff. Let's see. Okay. Fine. Okay, now we are here, we've built whatever that, you see, like now, that data, we've turned that into information. We can make sense out of that, right? I will just try to get this so that, we have got this for now. Let's try use the DAX formula, right? So when do we actually use DAX, right? So we use this DAX language, especially when we want to use the measures or maybe calculated for columns. So you may find that there is something that you need here. You've got all these fields, but there is something that you want to use, right? But it's not there, right? So you can try to create that. For an example, if you want to create the average, for not actually a good one, but you can say you want to create the average for the age, you can do that, right? Or maybe one can say that, I want to calculate, say, the total amount, for all the patients in all the provinces. You can actually use either the measure or the calculated for what do you call calculated column, right? So in our case, I've just selected few interesting DAX formulas that one can definitely try use. Okay, so I've selected that if you want to use the DAX formula, so you go to the modeling this time around, and I will try demonstrate the search function. Search function is also available in Excel and other BI tools, but I've just chosen to use the the search function, right? We'll try, and now I'm going to try use the measure, the new measure, right? So the measure and the calculated, you see, we've got the new column, we've got the new measure. These two are so related. However, they all actually use the DAX formula to the calculation, but the new measure is not going to actually show you the column. Maybe let's just demonstrate that using the search function, right? I'm going to try use to insert the new measure, and observe on your right, because this field we did not have. So automatically when you click on the new measure under that particular table, so now there it is. So we just want to, you can call the measure anything. In this case, we want to call this search function. You just say search for, right? So now we want to search, let's say we want to actually search, and as actually you type something, it's more like, you know, in the formula bar in Excel, right? When you type a formula, say like you type average, automatically it brings out, you know, the formula itself. So even in here, it shows you the available formulas that has to do with a search. So if you click on the search and say, I want to search, let's say we want to search, what can we search? The letter M, right? We want to search the letter M, and then, yeah, the letter M in this particular name, Motau, right? So we've got surname, so we say we want to search the letter M in Motau, right? So this is the DAX formula that actually the Power BI understand, right? So I know there are actually multiple ways of really using the search. So in this case, you'll have to say, I want to search. I'm going to demonstrate two things. Let's just actually close there, right? And press enter and observe what happens, right? And for you to, you see now you've got your search function there. And for you to see that, you must go to the visualization. Let me just go to the new page, right? And we go to the search function. There is your search function, right? And you want to show that particular search function. So it says that, what did we search, by the way? We searched the letter. Let me just click again so we can see the formula. So in the formula, we said we want to search the letter M, right? And in Mutau. So we have got only one M in Mutau, right? So that's what actually is showing. Let me just use this cut. So you can use any, but I think cut, it makes sense. So far it shows, what you see here is one, because it shows what? It shows you the number. Okay, let me actually emphasize that. It shows you the number of letters in that surname, Mutau, right? So I'm going to try just to change my formula. Yes.
Oh, yes, I was just saying now, I think the time factor now, it becomes a challenge.
Well,
and we do not want to hold the friends for too long. Yeah.
Well, can I just demonstrate the last?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the just more. Okay, fine. This time around, I just want to insert the new column. For sure, you've seen the measure, how it works, and I just want to actually show you very interestingly the new column, how actually you can use the DAX formula. In this case, let's just call it what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. And in this case, we want to say that we want to search, right? We want to search the letter M. Okay, we can still say we want to search the letter M. And once we found that letter M, then we need to go to this table. So surname, right? So now what we're trying to do is that we want to search, we want this to return at the number of letters, you know, in this particular surname, right? So let's just go to the surname, right? And we want to say that once you find that, right? If the letter is not there, therefore just leave it blank, right? And then you close there, right? So we've got this formula now. And what you can do if you press enter, you see you've got the new column, right? Once you press enter there, So it will now just see what happens. Very interesting. Wow. Voila. So you've got now the new column, and it goes, because we said, please look for the letter M, right? In this particular column called surname. And if you find that column, just tell us how many letters that you found. Mutaung is only one M, that's why you have got one M there. But in Klabo, we don't have the letter M. That's why it has returned. We said you must return blank. That's why you've got blank there. Okay. And then maybe in what do you call this? Milan. So number, how many? 1, 2, 3. That's why it's the order of the letter. So it's the third letter there. That's why actually it has put 3 there. So colleagues, I think there is more that we can do there, but it was just a quick demonstration with the Dutch formula in the Power BI. So now, and you can also, from here, you can use now the measures as well as the columns, right, to create your visualization. Say you are happy now, everything is good. What you can do is that you can save this work. Let me, I'm wrapping up, Miotlokwe. So I'm going to call this say Power BI demo. Yeah, Power BI demo, right? Okay. So now you are happy. What do you do? Then you can publish this work, right? So you want to publish this work. So if you go to home, then you can publish your work, right? I'm going to publish this now. And yeah, in the meantime, colleagues, if you've got some questions, I think you can quickly go to the charts and put. So now, when you publish this work, I'm just going to actually publish it on my workspace. Let's see what actually happens. Like as I've indicated that when you publish the work from desktop, it goes automatically to the Power BI service or your portal. So here you can also get your quick insights. So the Power BI does that for you. As the BI tool, it can actually generate the quick insights. So if you click the quick insight, for an example, so it will go and try and make sense. Are there any correlations between this and that? You see now I was on a desktop, and automatically when you click on insights, then it takes you to the to the portal, right? So it's still busy trying to make sense before you can even go and look at if there's a relationship between this and that. So this actually does that automatically. Okay. So this is what actually it has found. So as an analyst, then you need to go and check, are these the things that I want or I don't want? You see, like there it gives you the insights. So already tells you about a cell phone and average, right? So it shows you that form clusters when grouped. It tells you about no accounts for the majority amount. So it went there automatically into your model and tried to make sense. So look at the insight that it has generated automatically without you trying to think hard as to what is it. So you can always try to, edit here and there and submit to your manager and get your raise, right? Fine. So now, when you are here, guys, I think, I don't know if, how much time, but yes, what I wanted.
There's a question. There's a question. Maybe when you go in, then it's from Rufiwa Mlauz saying that thanks, John. And what's the question? Is it possible to copy the graph and table to Microsoft Word?
Yes, 100%. So like now, isn't that I've published that from a desktop, right? This is what now actually, this is where I'm trying to finalize, and I'll share that very quickly. So it is very possible that the very same data here, you can actually export this, for example. You can export to Power BI and then PowerPoint. Say like you want to present this data, you can actually do it via PowerPoint, or you can actually do it via PDF. You can also export the same chat into Excel. So if you right click here, for example, you can say export the data, right? You can export that and it will give you that option to say, do you want a summarized data or with the underlying data set, right? You can actually do that. And here's the format, you can always say, okay, fine, I want that. So the answer is yes, you can do that.
And then the other question from Anele, are the letters you searched case sensitive or not?
Or in that particular case, in the search functions, you can use either the small letters or the what do you call the capital letter, Anel.
So meaning that even if you search for M and then you put a small letter, it will able to pick it up on the surname in respective.
Yeah, it will actually pick it. Like in this case, if you use small m, so it will still see that, in Makuani's name, there's only one M.
All right.
Yeah, so
right.
Colleagues, there's just more. This stuff, there's just more. But here, what I wanted to finally show you is to share. Say like now you want to collaborate, right? So you want to share with your colleagues. So in this case, if there's Miotlokwe, I don't know if your surname, whoever. So you can actually enter their email addresses and write, important message here to say, please note, this is the analysis for the COVID-19 whatsoever. And you can also give those particular recipients, the access to say that access to the data set. If you want them to manipulate the data further or add to the model, you can actually allow them. If you want to take those rights away, you can actually just uncheck these checkboxes, right? And what they will get from their emails, maybe what I will do, because this is the work that we've done, I will just have to get your email addresses here and share this work, right? So that you can just play around. Then you'll get the link in your email. When you click on those particular link, but you should have downloaded the PowerBI desktop first. Colleagues, let me just stop here for the sake of time. There's just more that, really one would love to share. Thank you so much for really listening.
Great, thank you very much, John. I think colleagues, they saw that there's lots for us to do, right? But this one today, as we mentioned, we just wanted to paint the picture, to say what is BI, its foundations, and what are the tools out there, right? So I think I'm hoping that most of us or all of us, we are having the foundation of what really BI is. Then from here, we can really start building from there, yeah? So that's really more the main objective of this initiative. Let's build them from there. But I'm hoping and seeing the interest that we have here is an hour later or 30 minutes later, we still all of us here. So this to me tells me that there is still a demand for this, right? So I'm hoping that I'll ask the colleagues, our presenters, that maybe we'll sit down and see what can we come up with for next year, for example, right? I think there are a couple of things that you then talked about, the careers and even that the architecture. So perhaps maybe I'm thinking we may be having some boutique BI training of some sort that we may be doing next year, right? So please indicate to me via emails or wherever the platform is, if you have an interest for us to explore BI in detail from whatever the dimension you like to do, right? So that will be my request from you. Just indicate to us if maybe you might be interested here so that we can explore this much further. I think as they mentioned, Fourth Industrial is here, Internet of Things, generating lots of data. The issue is really how do you get the insights out of this? And then to be inquisitive, be willing to learn. And I think in the meantime, then we will catch you next year where we're going to have main boutique training, maybe 4 weeks of BI training, looking at all of these tools. But as they mentioned, we have hundreds of tools out there. The issue is know what you are looking for and then be inquisitive. I'd like to thank our presenters, Mojaji and John, for allowing us to, still their time to come and share with us this kind of information. Then I'm hoping that colleagues, friends, they've learned one or two things and to build from, right? And also I'd like to thank you, the colleagues, for spending your afternoon. You should be elsewhere, chillaxing, doing the doings there, but you are here with us. So this shows me that it really indeed there is an interest for this, and then we will then build from here. The last one for me is that I'm going to share. We're going to share this on YouTube. I'm also going to send you an email, but the email with you of how the presentation, right, and also where to get this on YouTube. I'm not sure if there is a last word from the floor from you colleagues that you want to allude to.
Yeah, from my side, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Miotlokwe, for hosting us. And,
you are talking away from your mic.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, I just want to actually thank you for organizing this, and yeah, and thanks for the all colleagues, all friends. I see we have got some friends from Canada, Lerato, and other colleagues from Canada. We are really blessed to have you here, and I hope you have learned one or two things. But thank you so much, Miotlokwe, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Muchachi.
I'd also just to like to echo what John has said. I'd like to thank everyone for their time. Hopefully you've learned one or two things and you have your curiosity piqued to go forth and be great and learn more and just conquer the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, I think John mentioned something here that we therefore, as he mentioned, I think you got people from Canada. I see my friend here from Tanzania. So this is really this is not just the South African initiative, right? We need to build out of this, but from my end, I'm looking for the feedback from you, friends, in terms of how can we do things much better next year. And then indeed, if you have if we have something also to share, not IT related, let me not go there. If you have some session that you think maybe it might be of value to anyone, right? Please let me know so that maybe we can arrange some week next year. I think this year is already gone. Next year, where we can give you this particular space to come and share with us whatever you want to share with us. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think now it's really 2 hours now, more than 2 hours. I think it has been we had a great time. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Yeah? Yes.
I have a question.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I see that you guys have the sessions every other Sunday.
Yeah. Every second Sunday. Yeah.
Yes. So my question is, do we always have to like send emails to request for seats, or like, are we automatically?
Yes, that's a very good question. Yes, automatically the invite is already in your calendar if you send an email. So that's one thing that I also maybe mentioned, very good important thing. I want to say that we don't have to send an email every week. I think you should be having this invite in your calendar. And another thing is I had people that they're struggling to join. So maybe please let your friends to go inside an email. I mean the invitation to click the link in there, because we are using Google. I understand Google is giving them the link to Google Meet, right? That's why there are lots of confusion. That's why you see the number is not as we have been expecting. I'll see what I can try there, because I remember this week my friends at work, they were telling me that they were there with other 10 people or 10 odd people. Then they end up disconnecting because no one was connecting. So people must just go inside the invitation and click on the Zoom link. I think that's the message that please just share with other friends elsewhere. Thank you, friends from different provinces in South Africa, and you colleagues from Tanzania, Canada, and elsewhere. We really appreciate your time. And let's then see you next week. Next week, we'll be talking all things blockchain. Blockchain, I think, is a fairly new thing to us, and I believe it's to do with this fourth industrial revolution we are in. So let's do speed of research and come and ask the question to the presenter. Thank you very much, friends.
Hi, Mr. Miotlokwe.
Oh yes.
Yes. On the 1st, I won't be available. Will I be able to get the link to see what you guys were talking about?
Yes. So what I'll do, I'm going to send an email with our YouTube channel link, where you will able to view everything. So if, for example, we talked about Excel, right? We talked about we had a session 6 week session where we're talking about Excel. You can go to that particular link and view those lessons. The same thing with the previous one. We did the databases, we did the cloud computing. Today we're doing business intelligence. We're going to do project management, cybersecurity. If we missed one of them, you can still also send to your friends. If maybe some of your friends missed one of our sessions, they can go to YouTube and find those lessons there.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. Anyone with a question? Right, friends, I think we can talk up until, but I think let's have a rest so that we can start the week next week, the week with the energy, right? Thank you very much for joining, and let's meet on the 1st of November, where we'll be talking all things blockchain. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes,
maybe Mutaji and John, if maybe we still have a moment, we can.
oh, okay.
Thanks.